Welcome back, class. So we are starting our new chapter, which is actually about ideal sampling and Nyquist theorem. So far in this course, we have learned about the continuous time system. Okay, we started with the signal noise analysis, okay, signal to noise ratio. Then we moved to the Fourier transform, okay, the analysis of the signals in Fourier domain, frequency domain, and then we studied about the modulations. So now we are actually going to understand the discrete time domain signal processing. We will learn about how we can convert a continuous time signal to discrete time. Okay, so if we have a continuous time signal, okay, how we can convert to a discrete time signal. Okay, what are the different factors which actually affects this conversion. Okay, and then how we can actually reconstruct or reconvert from discrete to digital. Okay, that is the focus of this chapter. So this thing is basically the basics of the digital signal processing, okay, which is basically uh, being used everywhere nowadays. Okay, so let's have a look at the basics of this topic. So we will start with the basics of the sampling. Okay, sampling is the first way for the conversion of a continuous time signal to a discrete time. So if you have a continuous time signal and if you take its samples for a specific time period, okay, for example, this is my continuous time signal, okay, this dotted line, and now if I take its samples, okay, for this specific time periods, okay, like this is the time period between two samples, so this is my sampling period. Okay, I'm taking its samples and I'm getting this signal because of the sampling. Okay, then after taking the samples we will get only these samples, for example only these values. Okay, so this is basically your discrete signal. Okay, so we can convert a continuous time to discrete signal using the C to D converter, continuous to discrete time converter. Okay, so basically what is happening, we are actually multiplying our continuous time signal with the train of impulses. Okay, so this is the impulse train. Okay, and here like it's approaching from minus infinity to infinity, so you just multiply your input signal with the impulse train. So you guys know very well impulse property that when an impulse is multiplied with a signal, we will get the signal value at the impulse location. Okay, for example, if this signal the impulse is existing at t naught, so I will get this one. Okay, and if I taking its emission, so I will get only this one. So basically when this signal is multiplied with this impulse, for example, okay, so at that time, okay, for example this impulse, so I will get only this function value at the impulse location, which is actually this one, and it is multiplied with this impulse, I will get only function value at this location. So that is basically my discrete signal. So I can represent my continuous time in mathematical form, that if I have a continuous time signal and if I take its samples, nth samples, okay, like this is my continuous time signal, and now if I take its nth samples, so I will get a discrete time signal. Okay, so that is the basic sampling. So this technique using this impulse train, this is also called as impulse sampling. Okay, so basically before digging into the more details of the sampling, we will have a look at the basics of the band limited waveforms. So if we have a signal in time domain, okay, and if we take its Fourier transform, so that we get this Fourier transform. So if you look at this Fourier transform, this signal is existing only for this band, only for this bandwidth. So if our signal is existing, okay, for example the value is 1 only for this band, okay, like from frequency is greater than minus b and less than b, and for all other values it is 0. So this is called a band limited signal. Okay, So we could have a signal which is band limited. Okay, band limited mean in frequency domain it has a limited spectrum. And we could also have a signal which is time limited, that in time domain it has a limited values. For example, rectangular signal. Okay, this signal is existing only for this time period. Okay, so the property is, if a signal is band limited in frequency domain, it will be unlimited in time domain. Okay, or vice versa. For example, guys, see, we have a rectangular signal which is band limited in time domain, right? If we take its Fourier transform for a rectangular signal, we get a sink, and this sink is going on. So this is not time limited signal. Okay, so that is the basic properties of the band limited waveforms. And if we have a band limited signal, okay, which is basically a physical waveform, and now if you want to get its samples, okay, the one way I have told you that we can do the impulse sampling. The other way is we use the sink, okay, orthogonal functions. For example, if this is my continuous time signal, so I will use the different sink functions. For example, the first sink function, okay, I get this one. I have another shifted sink function. I have another shifted sink function. So their convolution basically will give me these samples. Okay, and through that we can get our discrete time signal. So this is basically called a sampling through the orthogonal sink functions. Okay, and the theorem is same, that if you have a continuous time signal, we can get the discrete time by taking the nth samples of that signal. Okay, this is your sampling period. Okay, or if you call it sampling rate means frequency. Okay, sampling frequency. So we can write this also in the form of frequency. So T is 1 over F. Okay, so that is basically your discrete time signal. Okay, so if we have a band limited signal, okay, its maximum bandwidth is P. Okay, for example, there is a signal in frequency domain which has a maximum bandwidth of P. So we should choose the sampling frequency greater than 2B. That is basically the Nyquist criteria, that the sampling frequency should be greater than 2B, greater than 2 times of the maximum frequency of the signal. Okay, if we choose this ensures that we can convert our discrete signal back to the time domain. Okay, we can reconstruct our time domain signal from the discrete signal if our sampling frequency follows this criteria, which is actually also termed as the Nyquist criteria. Okay, examples, we will solve this in the live session. Okay, so the Nyquist criteria, as I'm telling you, the minimum sampling frequency should be 2 times of the maximum bandwidth of the signals. Okay, and if you want to calculate the minimum number of samples which are needed, okay, for example, if this is my sine wave and I'm getting the different samples, okay, for example, these samples as per the sampling frequency. So to reconstruct this signal, to get back this original signal, I should have minimum number of samples. So that minimum number of samples we can calculate by this relationship, that T naught, that if this signal has a time period of T naught, okay, this signal is existing at the period of T naught, that period divided by 1 over Fs. Okay, where Fs will go on up. What is Fs? 2b. So the minimum number of samples should be 2b times the period of our signal. So if you produce these minimum number of samples, we can easily reconstruct our original signal from the discrete time signal. Okay, this is also termed as the dimensionality theorem. Okay, the minimum number of samples requirement. Okay, so this is illustration using the sink orthogonal functions. Like I have this sink function, then I have shifted sink function, another shifted sink function. So by their convolution and time domain, okay, I can get these sampled versions. Okay, like that. So this is my basically discrete time signal of this continuous time signal. Okay. Impulse sampling, I have already explained you how we can get this. Okay. And now if we have a discrete time signal, so we can use a reconstruction system which actually will convert the discrete time to the continuous time signal. Okay. So basically from the samples, these samples, we need to get our original time domain signal. Okay. So to ensure that we can reconstruct our signal, first of all, we should meet the Nyquist criteria that your sampling frequency should be this one, and you should have minimum number of samples, that should be 2b of t naught. So if you are meeting this criteria, you can easily reconstruct your original signal from the time, the discrete time signal. Okay. So basically, depending on the Nyquist criteria, we have different sampling approaches. Okay, which we call this oversampling, critical sampled, or undersampled. Okay, so we will see the details about those approaches in the live session, and we will see the relevant examples also in the live session. Thank you very much for your time.